Hello, welcome to the It's All Good show. Lucas here for a chat. My name is Denise Belisle, and I'm a serenity expert. I'm so happy to be here today again on Monday to welcome a new guest to my show. You're going to be, ladies, you better sit down, get ready. This call is for you. And men, I don't know, men might learn a few things. She's on the back office there. She said, yeah, they'll learn a few things. So we'll have fun talking about women and sexuality and how to be more open and learning new things as you grow older. Yeah, there's always, they can teach old bitch new tricks, I guess. We're dogs, bitch, right? That's what comes out. I mean, and we'll see how that goes. But first, I want to introduce quickly how the show goes. Like it's called "It's All Good" because it's my favorite cup, and it's my way of living. Like when life happened, I'm not as much as I can. You know, nobody's perfect, but I don't get stressed out over life. If something just happened that is totally horrible, I have about 2 minutes to catch myself up and say, hey, I can't change it now. It's 2 minutes in the past and I can't change that. And what can I learn from that? How can I move on? What can I discover from this lesson? What do I have to learn? How can I move forward with this situation? So it's always good. So it's all good. Because I learned long time ago that I can't change the past. And I cannot also predict the future. I've tried say, okay, I'm going to do this. It's going to work this way, and this person will do this, and that's going to work this way, and we're going to do that. And you know what? You walk into a situation, and everything's changed. So you always have to be ready to accept what's now and make the best of it. So that's my short version of why I call this show "It's All Good." And my guests, well, I invite them because I found that they're very interesting and they're fun to talk to, and they bring different insight to you, my audience. So if you want to be on the show, I welcome you to book a call with me, book a call with Denise. So talk with Denise at tiny.cc. And and even if you want, I say things that trigger something in you and you'd like to know more how you can work with me, that's the link to click. And I invite you also to subscribe to my YouTube channel where I have all the other shows that I've done for the over 2 years. And they're all there. So you're welcome to go browse in my libraries of It's All Good show and see if there's anything else in there that you'd like to know more about or people you want to discover. And my guest today is Tazima Parris, and she's a sex coach and pleasure mentor for grown-ass women. And so without any further ado, let's welcome Tazima to the floor. Tazima, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a delight to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you on. We were on another podcast a few months back, and you were with another gentleman. I said, I got to have you and you on my podcast. I got to have you on for sure. So I'm so glad we were able to put that together and have you here.
Indeed.
So that's a big endeavor, sex coach and pleasure mentor for grown ass women. So tell me how you got into this field and how did that happen?
Yeah, it's
What happened
always
before and how did you get there?
it's always a funny story because people think, all sex coaches decided, yeah, I'm going to be a sex coach when I grow up. No, I this is 100% accidental. And what I mean by accidental is that it sort of unfolded and it became clearer and clearer over time what I needed to be doing. So
Mm-hmm.
I started out my coaching career as a health coach, and I
Mm-hmm.
was teaching yoga at the time, and people kept asking me, like, we're supposed to be talking about kale and fitness, food and fitness, but people kept asking me about their dating life, and I had answers. Why did I
Mm-hmm.
have answers? Because I was already curious about it, and I was studying it on the back end, even though I wasn't officially
Yeah,
studying
just for your own development. Yeah.
for my own development. I had gone through several relationships by this point. I was actually when I was becoming a health coach. I was going through a divorce, and it was
Mhm.
largely because of the kind of transformational process. I'm not going to blame my coaching career, like the demise of my relationship on my coaching career, but there were some things that I was
Would
finding
change. Yeah.
that were inauthentic ways of being.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, the more that I clean this up, the more that I show up more as myself,
Yeah.
oh, okay, now this makes sense. Okay, now this makes sense. Now this makes sense. And so I kept pursuing these curious directions of like, wonder what this is about. I wonder what this is about. And that's actually how my study of sexuality and relationship and human relating even started in the first place. Because the sponsoring question that I had was, why, if a female and a male are having sex with each other, why is it that the female gets the negative press and the male gets the pat on the back? Like they're having sex with each other. Like,
Yeah.
what's up?
Yeah.
What is the deal? And so with that, I began studying not just human relation and dynamic, but also
The
the
taboos and
the taboos and the social underpinning and the spiritual and religious underpinnings of sexuality and relationship and all this stuff, all these social overlays that we deal with.
Mhm.
And all of that really is what guides me each day as I'm supporting my clients and my own curiosity and what I'm studying. And so, yeah, just over time, I had some good answers. I went through my own, journey and was trying to find answers for myself. And because I have kind of a scientific brain, I was born with it.
Yeah.
I just always want to know, well, what's behind this?
What's the science behind that?
What's the
Why?
science behind
Yeah.
it? Why are we like this? And so that's kind of the stuff that I study all the time, and I find certain truths. And there are people I've studied with um, who I credit for some of my ideas, and then the things that I've built on and developed on my own are really. I'm always aiming for tools that simplify
Mhm.
the things that are just so complex. Like if we
Yeah.
can do
But
it
that looks complex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we can do it in a shorter, less complex way, I want to find that way. So that's really
Yeah.
what I'm always wanting to do. And I found those ways, and I share those things with my clients, those practices and exercises. And I've found it really, really helps. And based on all of my experience, I've pretty much taken a journey that took me about 9 to 15 years, depending on how you're counting,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I've shrunk it down to about a year. That if you spend a year doing this kind of work, you'll be able to kind of get to at least the mental space
Yeah.
that of and perspective and kind of personal internal alignment
Yeah. And
that
then
you
again,
feel
I
confident.
I can imagine people now listening say, a year, that's a long time. But then they don't realize if they're in their 50s and 60s and like they had like, okay, your
Yeah,
sex life start in your mid-teen. So you've had
yeah,
like 40 years of
yeah,
programming of
already.
one way. So
Exactly.
taking a year to reset your
Yeah,
mindset and to reset the way you see life and you see yourself and your
yeah.
sexuality, it's nothing,
And
you
then
know?
if you know you're gonna come out more confident, you know you're gonna be able to hold healthy boundaries. You know you'll be able to make confident choices and clear choices. So what's that worth to you? You want to spend a year getting clear and being able to say absolutely not
Yeah.
with no remorse.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
heck yeah, I totally want to do that and have no regrets about it. If a year is feels like too much, well, this work is probably not for you, and you should probably
yeah,
stay where you
yeah,
are.
yeah, because the thing is, it's we've spent like really, if I look at my own sexuality as I move, through life and all that, I know there's still pattern today that I built when I was in my 20s,
Absolutely.
right? And if I, working with you, and if I was to get away from those patterns,
Yeah.
everything could change in
Yeah.
my own life, right?
Yeah, and I want to emphasize, it's not just the decades that we've been living just doing what we do. It's not just that. I'm taking my own journey and people that I've helped over the past decade slash 15 years, however you
Mhm.
call it. My personal journey and their journeys are all combined. I'm taking the best of the best practices
Mhm.
so that it shortens the journey
Yeah.
of the clients as much as
Yeah.
possible, because like you shouldn't have to take decades to do it if I know a shorter
Yeah.
way. And it's not as and I also want to just name, I'm not the only coach who does stuff like this. If people vibe with me, cool. But I
Mhm.
do encourage other people, if I'm not your flavor, find someone who is,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that you can get the liberation. Because especially as women, I'm not trying to exclude anybody saying especially women. I'm actually saying that women have a specific, people with wombs and vulvas and pussies, as I call them, that have a specific role to bring life through our physical bodies. There's
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
specific and fabulous about that, to be able to
Mhm.
incubate life, whether you have children, physical human
Whether
children.
you chose to have children or not. Yeah.
That's irrelevant. The fact that the capacity is within our body to cultivate
Yeah.
and nurture life is a very specific,
It's in
beautiful.
our DNA, whether we like it or not.
Exactly. And so that is massive power. It's feeling disempowered is having women being duped about who we are in the world. We were just
Mhm.
duped to think that we're not powerful. We're inherently powerful. And so that's what, when I say grown ass women, I'm talking about, you don't have to be a 20-year-old apologetic. Oh, I'm so sorry. And if you're still a little apologetic as a 52-year-old, like, it's still okay. And
Yeah.
you can learn to come out of that in a
Yeah.
way that's powerful and creative and clear and connected, that is not, you don't have to be a, fire breathing bitch. You don't, if you want to be that, that's fine also. No shame. And you can name how you want to be,
Yeah.
with your power, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
absolutely have a wonderful amount of power, and it's
Yeah.
really about cultivating it.
Mhm. And I've been working for the last year or so with relationship and people that have been together for a long time, and I call it like rock the second half of your life, and that has an array of different things that could happen when
Mhm.
you decide to, if you're in a relationship and you decide to rock the second half of your life. And what I've seen over the years, I'm single now, but there's lots of people around me that are in couple, and a lot of my girlfriends, we talk, and they say, when you hit menopause, afterwards things change sexually. Like you're not, has your libido goes doo, 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 doo. So you're not as excited. Not that you don't want to have sex, but it takes a little more spice, into that. So how can people improve their intimacy when they've been together for a long time? And also, menopause or not, the habit sets in,
Yeah.
right? And the routine sets in. So how can they improve that?
So I want to address something before I get into that.
Hmm.
There are women who enter menopause and their libido actually goes up
Hmm. That's great.
because of the relative testosterone.
Hmm.
Fortunately, the relatively higher testosterone, because testosterone really is our go juice. Woo, woo, woo.
Hmm.
It's the thing
Hmm.
that you want to, oh, yeah, let's do it. Okay. So,
I see
relatively,
the little rabbit on the legs, right?
yeah, yeah. So it just depends on what's happening with
Yeah.
that specific woman. So I just want to make the PSA that some women during menopause
Have a
actually
higher. Yeah.
increase in libido as a result of entering menopause. So it's
Hmm.
fascinating. Also, because society is misogynistic, patriarchal society is misogynistic, there are inadequate numbers of studies to help women understand what's going on during menopause. So we don't actually have, well, what's the average experience of a menopausal woman? Because no one's studying it, because no one had, there's not an emphasis on the study of bodies, women's bodies, and
Yeah,
women.
we're not gonna go there, right? That's what this is like. No way. Nobody's who's gonna put
Yeah.
money into that.
And so that's deeply frustrating to me personally, but
Yeah.
that's a different story for another day. So
Now that
let's
the
get back to,
PSA, yeah, now that the PSA announcement's been done.
and we're done with the PSA. So how do you, with an existing relationship, how do you spice it up is what people generally, how people ask this question is.
Mhm.
So number one, the reason why the beginning of a relationship is spicy is because of the novelty inherent in getting to know someone new.
Mhm.
Part of what makes it dull is that we think we know our partner. And there are things we are familiar with. That's true. Just, you have patterns and you show up, and there are certain ways of being that we might have. And we're all shifting every single day. We all
Mhm.
have, unless we're actively trying to be the same person, which generally we have different moods. We have different
Yeah, of
cycles.
course,
So
of
the
course.
weather's different, conditions shift. And so keeping consistently updated with your partner, what's new, taking time to have one-on-one time, whether folks are empty nesters or they have adult children at home,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
even small children, because some people had children late in life.
Late, yeah.
Regardless of what the children are doing, make sure that you have one-to-one time with everyone in your family. I know time is hard. And even if it's 5 minutes, just have like eye contact and one-to-one with everyone in your family, including your partner. Even if you're a single parent, single mom,
Mhm.
whatever, uh, create intimate time with the people who are, so there are single moms who have long-term committed relationships. They
Yeah.
don't live together. So same,
Mhm.
same.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Connect one to one. It's not the same when we're connecting with other people around. Okay. And during that time, make it conscious and update. Also, so that's kind of the connection piece. Also, get the updates on what sexual stuff is happening, especially for those women going through menopause. If you're
Mhm.
going through menopause, there are constant changes going on in your body. There's
Yeah.
stuff happening from the temperature that you feel to like the mood, or like dryness, or some others body condition that's shifting. Allow your partner to come into that experience of like, hey, my body has changed. When you touch this part of my body, it doesn't feel the same. I need support. So it might be lubrication, it might be more time, it might be
Yeah. Yeah.
a different interest that emerges now that X, Y, and Z. Because I've also coached women who have been through an illness that is significantly changing their body,
Mhm.
and having that kind of conversation, and even some like a specific playtime that you set up so that you can explore one another's bodies, and specifically explore your body as the
Yeah.
woman who is shifting. Like, let's explore what sensation feels like today.
Yeah. What I found talking with my clients is
Mm.
often um and man, I'm not judging and pointing finger of all of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I said like the man is not curious about exploring the changes, right? And he wants to keep things the way it is, and it's like he just wants to have sex and
Yeah.
just the way we used to have it 20 years ago, come home,
Yeah.
a little bit of foreplay, sex, and fall asleep or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But the woman, she doesn't feel the same. She doesn't feel the same energy. She, as you said, there might be a little drier. We need to explore different things. Maybe different things feels better now than it used to. And I'm sure you haven't explored the whole body, and there's different things that feels good.
Yeah.
And so it's important to have an open mind, right? When people get into that space, to be able to take the time to explore in a safe environment so that the woman doesn't feel like, oh, you just want to fuck me, right?
Yeah. And I also want to say that that openness needs to happen from the woman herself to
Mm-hmm.
herself. Because
Yeah.
the place that I start with my clients is actually having the woman take stock of what's happening with your body. What are
Yeah.
you into? What do you want? What's
Yeah.
your desire? And where are you now? What's shifted for you? So she's doing an evaluation with herself before she takes it to her partner.
Yeah.
Don't put the responsibility of exploring on your partner. Do not do that. I
Mm-hmm.
suggest that you do not do that.
Yeah.
Not because he might not know, but like you have to know.
You have to know, and you have to build a map and then get him to walk through that map,
Walk
give him
through
the
the map.
GPS.
The other thing that I want to say, it's another PSA about men's brains. So the woman's brain is like, take care of everybody else, literally physiologically wired into us.
Mm-hmm.
So women get frustrated about, not being able to put themselves first, and they don't know why it's a problem. And, oh, I can't do it. I put it at the end of the day. We're wired that way so that babies don't die.
Yeah.
Similarly, men are focused on what do they know and how they can move forward based on what they know. That is hardwired into them, and they're hardwired to take care of themselves in order
Mm-hmm.
to do what they need to do. That's not selfishness. That's literally wired so that the whole village doesn't die because they've got to go get the meat.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to not die while they're getting the meat. And they need to have enough consciousness to take the meat back to the rest of the group instead of being selfish and
Eating
hand
it right there and then.
on site once they kill it, like, all right, whatever for everybody else. Not that they won't have a snack, but they will be conscious enough to take the things
Yeah.
back. That quality, that specific quality of men wanting to take care of those who they care about, people who are in their circle of concern or their circle of care. Okay. That is the quality that will have them pay attention. That's the
Mm-hmm.
quality of wanting their partner to be happy,
Yeah.
which, by the way,
Which is awesome.
doesn't matter if the man is gay or straight or somewhere in between. He still wants to take care of his partner.
Yeah.
He wants that person to be happy
Absolutely.
because he has that desire to keep her happy. If she can be specific about what will deliver her happiness, he
Mm-hmm.
will catalog those things in his mind so that he will be able to win with her or win with them or win with him
I love that.
time after time and after time.
Absolutely.
So with the knowing that, if you can be specific and clear
Yeah.
and let your man know, here's what would make me happy, in language that he can understand, you will be able to have him win. This is not easy because our emotions get in the way. And if we have an existing relationship, there might be something from last week we're still pissed about. So we just want him to like get it. And I understand that. But this is why I offer coaching to folks.
Yeah, of course, to guide the ladies to,
Yeah.
first of all, it's not easy once you've been accustomed to just be quiet and take what's given to you and don't ask.
Yeah.
So once you grown up, grown ass woman, it's like, okay, I can say what I want. I can talk about my needs. I can talk about what feels better instead of wishing, when something's happening, so, oh, no, go there instead, go there, but you don't voice it, right? It's just in your mind, and you always hope that he can read your mind and do the things that you need to have done. It's like, no, that doesn't work like that.
It doesn't. But what I also want to make this distinction here is that it's not easy to talk about, not only because it's vulnerable. So it's super vulnerable to talk about sex. It just is,
Of course.
for many social reasons.
Yeah.
And even though, for your mature audience, grown ass women, the women I love to help, even though you've been speaking your native language for decades, 3, 4, 5, 6 decades, if you don't speak specifically about sex on a regular basis, like I do for my job, it's hard to talk about. You don't
Yeah.
have the language. You're not used to having these kinds of
It
discussions.
feels shy. It feels like uncomfortable.
Yeah, because you're not used to it. So
Yeah.
it's an unusual conversation. It's vulnerable. All of that stacks against being able to have a real clear conversation. Not to mention any social overlay, religious overlay, guilt,
Yeah, of course.
shame, pain from the past
Mhm.
violations,
Yeah.
all of those pieces. And by the way, everyone I hold that everyone in Western society pretty much has some kind of sexual trauma.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
it
I
may
agree
be,
with that.
you
One
know
way or the other.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's it
Different extreme, you got from
various
1 to
varying
100, but
yeah, varying degrees, but we're all traumatized around our
yeah.
sexuality because there's so much inherently socially, prescribed shame around sex
Mhm,
and
mhm,
sexuality.
mhm.
So we even if you work up the courage, I'm gonna say the thing today. Like, there's still a bunch of baggage that you have that
Yeah,
hasn't been dealt with, and that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I just want to put it out there.
Mm,
Like, a lot of it is that we have these really high standards about what we should be able to do. And I want to let people know that even me, with all of the training that I have, sometimes I get nervous to ask for the things that I want in
yeah,
sex and in my life. With as confident as I am, with as much training as I have, with as much language as I have, and I've been specifically working in sex positive spaces for at least, we're talking 10 years here, a decade.
yeah,
So it's not something that I should be able to do this. So please understand, like, even me, I have my moments of like, "Ooh,
yeah,
I'm a little nervous. I feel a little vulnerable, or I feel
yeah,
very vulnerable. I feel very nervous. I feel terrified right now
yeah.
to say this thing with my partner in a committed situation." So it's okay. I just want to allow one grace for anyone who's struggling to have this conversation.
Mhm.
Just allow yourself grace.
So how is it possible for, because unfortunately we live in a society where there's a lot of divorce,
Yep.
right? And sometime, you don't divorce because you're happy. So a lot of time it's sex related, or there's other reason too. And getting back, especially, when you get divorced, often, once the kids have grown a little, you don't want to get divorced when the kids are 10, but when they're like in their 15, 16, 20, then you say, okay, I'll do it. But then you end up, you're over 40, and it's like, oh, how do I get back in there? And how can people start, you know get back out there once they're, passing their 40s and having had difficult relationship?
So my the clients that I attract are high achievers, high achieving people pleasers. Those are my ladies. They're super smart. They have done a lot in their lives. They've achieved a lot, accomplished a lot. They're extremely intelligent, and they're planners.
Yeah.
They think about a lot of things. I have a worksheet that is available for it's a complimentary worksheet, and it's called the relationship vision. Women who are high powered, high achieving, who do a lot, they've got vision. They create visions and plans for every other aspect of life, their career, they're like how they're going to do, what their budget, all these things that they normally, they put their intellectual power to. But when it comes to relationship, they're like, yeah, we'll see how it goes. What?
I
No,
know. Yeah.
absolutely not. I understand that there's another person involved. I get that. But you know where else there are other people involved? Your career, your family, and everything else you do. People all over the place. Have you noticed your life is crawling with people? So many people everywhere, but why
Yeah.
is relationship so different? I
Yeah.
It's not. So creating a vision for your relationship. What do you want to experience?
Yeah.
What do you like about it? What are your core values that you stand for? And do they match with the person that you're connecting with?
Hmm.
Or that you can get in touch with what you need inside of a relationship, what you're not willing to tolerate. And by the way, as much pain or whatever you've experienced over time, all good. Like, hey, fine. Just like you say, it's all good. It is all good. If you've experienced pain and you're like, I am never going to tolerate that again, fantastic. Okay, great.
Hmm.
Now, never going to tolerate that. But what does that mean that you are open to now?
Yeah.
What is it that you're wanting? So flipping that never again
Yeah.
thing to what am I wanting
Become
to create?
curious. Yeah, become curious about what can it look like,
Right.
right?
And so if if disrespect was a thing, then it's mutual respect. If finances were a challenge, then it's financial freedom, not just financial stability, because that's very different. Financial stability has a lot of baggage in it.
Mhm.
So our
Mhm.
language, even the language that we use to describe
Yeah.
what we desire, has baggage in it. So we've got to clean up that relationship baggage itself, the actual baggage, and then the language that comes with the baggage. We got to clean that up too. So that's actually what my worksheet does. It's a tool that cuts through to what are you really needing and wanting
Yeah.
in your relationship. And by the way, this tool, this relationship vision tool, works for people who are not who are in a relationship, who are not out there actively dating. You can
Yeah.
use relationship vision for existing relationships as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So getting back out there, I always share with women, you can get back out there, but you've got to know where you're going when you get back out there.
Mhm.
And as
It's
far
like saying, "I'm going on vacation." You jump into your car and say, "Okay, drive." It's like if you don't have a map, if you don't have
right,
a roadmap of where you want to go, then you'll turn in circle forever.
exactly, or you'll follow your nose until something goes wrong.
You can have great surprises, but you can also get great disappointment, right?
Exactly, especially if you can't, get you get turned around or you're at a dead end. Like, what are you going to do then? And
Yeah.
so, creating the vision is one step of it,
Mhm.
and then the other step is to actually start saying no. The more that you get clear about what you actually want,
Mhm.
and then you live your life according to what you say is important to
Yeah.
you. And if something doesn't match that, say no. This does two things. One, it lets the universe know, I don't really want that. That's not what I'm signing up for. I know it seems like something I've done before, but I no longer want that. So you say no, and you do so quickly.
Yeah.
Why? Because when you say no and you do that quickly, it cycles and you waste less time. It cycles that person out or
Yeah.
that experience out so that you can have the experience that's now closer to the vision you created for
Yeah.
yourself. And really, the best way to quote unquote get out there. I'm an analog dater. I always have been. I got on the apps like maybe 2 times for like a couple of moments each time. I've never. I know people have success with that stuff, but it's not my style. Even if you're on a dating app, you can use the relationship vision tool or just create your own. I don't care.
Mhm.
Get
Mhm.
clear and you write that into your description, you'll start automatically
You
kind
will
of
attract. Yeah, you would be.
start attracting people who
Yeah.
match what you're
Yeah.
really committed to. But if you're committed to being upset and you're committed to saying, well, men are this way and like they're stupid and they're all the same or like blah blah blah. If you're committed to that,
That
absolutely,
you'll have a lot more of that.
you're sure gonna get a whole lot more. And so, like, what's your choice here? You absolutely have a choice as to what you are wanting and how you can show up. And so I really encourage um, women to live to the best of your ability, do the things that you enjoy.
So,
And then you'll meet people doing
yeah.
something.
You talk about learning to say no,
Yeah,
and what's important is how can one can learn setting healthy boundaries,
yeah,
because we're women, we're givers, we're yes people because we want to support and help others and we want to be nice. And so how can people start, women, grown ass women, start
absolutely. Yeah.
setting up boundaries?
So I have a concept inside of my programs that I teach about boundaries, and that boundaries are really a container. The only thing that's inside your boundaries are things that meet your needs and support or fulfill your desires. That's literally the only thing inside your boundaries. Everything else is outside your boundary. If it doesn't meet your needs or doesn't fulfill your desires, it's outside your boundaries.
Hmm.
And if you can think about it in that simplified way, then you'll be able to have clear boundaries. Now, here's the sticky part. Okay. So many women don't know what they need. They're
Mhm.
completely out of touch with their needs, or worse yet, they don't even want to have needs because they conflate needs with being needy. And
Mm.
that's just not true.
Yeah.
Having needs makes you human,
Yeah.
period. Like that's the only thing that it makes you. It doesn't make you needy. So, identifying and honoring your needs is actually the place that you start being able to define where your boundaries are. If you don't know what your needs are, you don't know what your boundaries are. And
Mhm, mhm.
boundaries become this theoretical set of reasons, and then you have to use a lot of intellectual power to explain why someone has stomped on your boundaries. Like, what? Wait, what? But you're using a lot of words, and the person is not really following you because you're not clear. I promise you, you can set a boundary, and this is my favorite example for needs and boundaries specifically. And this is also a trick. I use this kind of as a trick question, trick idea. But being able to feed yourself, use the bathroom, drink water, all those kinds of these are needs. We can
Mhm.
all unequivocally
Agree that these are things we need to do every day.
so peeing specifically, you need to pee.
Mm.
If someone stands in your way of needing to pee, how are you going to feel about that? Like, probably you're going to have some emotions about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably. We're probably going to be like, get the fuck out of my way.
Right, like knock at the door, like I
Right.
need to get in
Why not?
there.
I need to pee. And here's the thing about women. Women will hold pee, a need, to do other things and handle a bunch of other things. And so if we're the ones blocking ourselves from our needs being met, we can't hold a boundary for anyone else
Mhm, mhm.
having our needs not be met. So let's be real. So it can be a bitter pill to take, but when you identify your needs and honor them, then you can start holding healthy
Yeah.
boundaries. But if you do not do that, you can't.
Mhm, mhm.
It's impossible to hold healthy boundaries.
Yeah, I understand.
So like take it inside, bitter pill, take it. Let's be honest.
For sure, for sure. And it's like, for example, if you need to be held,
Yeah,
and cuddle and but if you don't give yourself a chance to be held,
yeah.
and you don't ask for it, and you don't request it, and you don't show that you need it, nobody will come and give you a hug.
Guarantee your needs will not be met if you
Yeah.
can't, like, and that thing of like, well, I wish they should. I shouldn't have to ask. Yes, you should have to ask. You are a
Yeah.
grown human being with
Yeah.
the power of language. We get that a baby does not have fully formed vocal cords and cannot make specific requests in a vocal language. They can emote what
Yeah.
they need,
Yeah.
but they can't say it. You, as a grown ass woman, absolutely can.
Yeah.
And don't put it on the other person because now they're responsible for meeting your needs.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, each person is responsible for meeting their own needs once they become capable of
100%.
meeting
Yeah.
their own needs. And let's just take it. Let's just own it. And then
Yeah.
you'll be fascinating. You might get what you need. You might get your desires
When you
handled.
ask
You
for it.
might be able to live a beautifully fulfilled life. Oh my God, happiness, joy. Like,
Yeah, and that's one thing, that I learned myself when I was studying emotional intelligence,
yeah.
is that I'm 100% responsible for everything that happened in my life.
Yeah.
So if one day I feel lonely, I'm 100% responsible for being lonely, because I am not reaching out to people to not be lonely,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so if I want people around me, well, I reach out for people around me, right? And if I want to be more intimate, well, I have to make the step that I need to take to be more intimate. So this is all related to, people don't do things for you. You got to do things for yourself. Be responsible,
Yeah.
be a grown ass woman, and discover what you love, and then act upon it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, it's
Yeah.
already been 40 minutes that we're chatting, and we could be here for 2 hours, and I might get you back in a few months to
Sure.
explore a little bit further.
I'd love to.
But it's amazing. And do you have any one last word, last tips, last
Yeah,
something?
a couple of things. I want to make a distinction about abuse.
Mm,
It's not my specialty or area of expertise, but I want to acknowledge that there are abusive people in the world,
mhm,
and this can deeply affect how confident we feel to
mhm,
say and do various things in our lives, including sexually, including freedom to act and
mhm. To
do it.
speak.
So I don't want to speak. So I don't want to oversimplify this and say everyone in every situation, like just buck up and be a grown ass
Yeah.
woman. I understand and am clear that in certain situations, people's experience has been such that their experience with abuse or complex traumas or specifically severe kinds of trauma, which by the way I'm not, that's not my specialty or expertise.
Mhm, mhm.
There are many supporters who are out there who can help folks who have really significant things that shut down their ability to
Yeah.
communicate or their ability to connect and so or verbalize their needs. So I just want to acknowledge that that exists. I don't want to oversimplify it for everyone in every situation. The women that I help and support often have therapists as well. And
Mhm,
so
mhm.
because I don't deal with those kinds of issues in
Yeah,
my practice, we can identify as those things come up. Hey, this may be something to take to therapy
yeah,
and get the support that you need so that you can heal through those
yeah.
aspects and then apply the tools that I offer so that you can move forward. So,
Mhm.
there's no rush. There's no like, oh, you got to get through this so that
Get over with,
yeah,
right? It's like
no, that's insensitive, and I want to be
mhm.
inclusive in my conversation and in my speaking, so that folks know I don't want to oversimplify this, and I am cognizant that other kinds of situations exist. The last thing I want to say about sort of women and moving forward in sexuality is that pleasure is really key, and not just sexual pleasure, but all kinds of pleasure. And this is what I love about my work is that one of my first assignments that I give to any client that comes to me is like, what do you like? And
Mhm,
start doing that.
mhm,
What
mhm.
brings you pleasure? Give
Yeah.
yourself time to do it and bring it to the top of the day. So my hashtag pleasure first really is kind of the key. I hold that pleasure is the antidote to resentment.
Mhm. Yeah.
It is.
Absolutely.
It's the antidote to, funky feelings. If you prioritize pleasure, you will eventually become more and more confident, but it is very tricky to prioritize pleasure in the context in the social context in which we live. It's also pretty challenging to do just having a female brain.
Mhm.
For the things I talked about in the beginning.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when you do, and I got a worksheet for that too. It's called the Pleasure Cup worksheet. If you do it, you will notice changes. I did a 3-week course at the end of 2020 that completely transformed a bunch of women's lives. One lady made an extra several $1,000s while we were while we were in class. Um, and she chose in the beginning of the course, the 3-week engagement, that she just wanted to make more money and do less work.
Mm.
And that was her pleasure. She
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah,
spend some
yeah.
quality time with her family. Another woman made a purchase of something that felt really sexy to her, and it was a risk. It didn't feel like it wasn't something that
Not
she
the usual.
it
Yeah.
was unusual based on herself, but it arose from something that brought her pleasure, and it significantly and it by the way, it wasn't like a sex toy. It was just a decoration for her home that reminded her of like her sexual liberation
Yeah,
and freedom.
yeah.
And that item helped her improve
Big
her
dirt.
sex life. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Like where what are we
that's
doing here?
awesome.
And so those are just a couple of examples of how pleasure will now lead the way to more and more experience and love and yum and confidence and all of these aspects. One more thing on pleasure is that the one woman that I helped, she patriarchal society, religiously conservative. I taught her just about saying her sexual desire to her husband.
Mm-hmm.
That's and I taught her about like, here's your body and here's how your body works. 2 sessions. Third session, she comes back and tells me, I stood up to my husband and to my misogynistic father. And I said, no, I don't want you to talk to me that way. I want to be treated in this way instead. This was after 2 sessions. And I wasn't even talking to her about this conversation with these men in her life.
Yeah.
And she's from a conservative religious background that's patriarchal. So
Yeah.
this is the power of this work, of women's sexuality, of pleasure itself. And so all of that together, I just, whether you work with me or you work with someone else, really being able to tap into who we really are and our actual power in the world
Mm-hmm.
is what I stand for. And I'm inviting women to participate in, whether they come through my programs or someone else. Just do the thing, get in there.
Yeah. That's how people can reach you, right? That's so socio
Sociotap.com.
sociotap.com.
And what's on there is some of the exercise, the worksheets that I mentioned
Different link,
are there. My website is there. You can connect with me on Instagram. You can get access to my socials, and the sex ed
You have a gift also.
yeah, the sex ed refresh gift pack, the starter pack is a gift. It'll get you started with a few different things. So I have some goodies that include some of the advanced stuff, and you can get the like upgraded version of that. It's called the mini course, and that is a small cost, but you know, you can get started with the starter pack.
Yeah.
And that'll get you started.
Yeah, just to what I teach my client is just to the awareness. Build awareness around what you want. Build awareness around where you are,
Yeah.
and where do you want to go, and what just becoming aware of it, right? Just that step, just saying, yeah, I want to change. I want to have a, more pleasure. I want to have more joy. I want to be more confident. I want to speak up. Like the awareness that where you want to go and move in that direction. It's not, as you said, it could take up to a year. It's not going to happen overnight,
Yeah.
but it will help you just become conscious of what's going on in your life and then start to build your roadmap.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Tazima. It was such a pleasure to have you. And as I said, we might have to have you again in a few months just to go a bit deeper and to, there's so much we could talk about.
It would absolutely be my pleasure. It's my honor to serve. And thank you so much for having me on.
It was a great conversation. Thank you. Stay right there. I'll be right back. I hope, ladies and gentlemen, that you've learned something out of that. I invite you again to reach out to Tazima and see what you find in her page. I'll put it again for social. Hold on, I had it and now I don't. Just if you're watching the video, stop the video and then write it down. And it's also in the show note. It should be in the show note below this call. And so I hope you enjoyed that. I also have a gift for you. If you have, and that might help you too, supporting you in that direction. If you want to make changes in your life and you want to move on from a situation that you've been in and it's difficult, well, I have a checklist, which is starting over a checklist, and you can click and download it, and you'll see there's different tips. I think I put 10 different tips on how to help yourself start over whenever there's major changes in your life. And again, YouTube channel. So come and subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch all the other videos. And if you want to have a chat with me, well, again, talk with Denise, tiny.cc/talk with Denise. And I would be happy to have a conversation with you if you want to be on this show or if you just want to have a chat. So thank you so much for listening. And I wish you an amazing week. And until next time, be kind to one another. Good Goodbye.